Hello everyone, welcome. Actually, why am I saying everyone? There's no one. Is there someone here? Was there someone here? No. Okay. Concurrent viewers went from 0 to, well, from 1 to 0. And my total viewers that I've gotten this entire stream says that I have 0. It was probably just me looking at my own stuff, but oh well. Oh wait. Yeah, that was probably important. So basically, if you've read the title, The End of TCOP, that is because this right here, TCOP in the Woods, is the second to last chapter in TCOP. So what I was going to do, instead of just reading this out and then waiting for next week, I would close this, go over to storyboard, max this out so we don't have to see my background and everything, and find every TCOP. Oh gosh, this is going to be annoying. Open there, open there, one, yeah, open. There's a lot here. This is devoured months of my life. Open that one as well. So yeah, I think I'll just stick with all of this. Let's see, the layer of MV. Oh yeah, that was pretty short since I was going to go back through and say everything. So, one moment. Is my mic on? Is my mic working properly? Yeah, it is. Okay. I can never tell. Sometimes it feels like my mic isn't as loud as it should be, but I did go into the settings for it and try to fix that. So yeah. The cost of power, chapter oh. Yeah, it's looking at all my small mistakes. Yeah. So basically, this one I did a voiceover for. I didn't show the script. This is when I tried to basically put on a black screen. I tried voicing out all of the characters and maybe had some background for some of this. For instance, the Living Doll, the Lich, and then other stuff. This wonderful world is full of life. In this part of Chapter 1, we'll be showing you relations in two statements. Segment 1. Segments. Segment 1, blasphemy against the Holy Army. Merchants. The merchant, yeah. So what if I'm greedy? I'm a merchant. I started with nothing, and all those who helped me had something to gain from it. So I've paid off all my debts. If you hate money so much, I'd be happy to take those donations off your hands. This is, basically people having opinions, negative opinions on the Holy Church, which was something I wanted to imply early, because the Holy Church, despite it being, the Holy Church, is referred to as the Holy Army. They are the devout zealots of God. If you do something that they find mildly upsetting towards their god, they will crucify you. They are unempathetic and very loyal. William III. Oh yeah, this one was a joke character I threw in. Sword of my sword is but a weapon capable of taking one's life. It is how I honor my ancestors, and protect and provide for my family. If thou doth not like it, then thou can go fuck thyself. The reason he has the accent is that last line. Yeah. The Living Doll. Where are my mom and dad? Hello, please. This must be a dream. Why is this happening? So basically, the Living Doll is a sentient homunculus, which people stopped producing a long time ago due to, why would you give your tool sentience? It doesn't really increase its worth. Especially since they were using them mainly for slave labor. It basically just let the tools revolt. So people stopped making them. And this dialogue between the Living Doll and the Lich was supposed to be, in the video, it had fire playing in the backgrounds. Fire sounds. So the village around the doll is burning as it's looking for its mother and father, which is just kind of a horrifying shift from the merchant and William III. A lich, you're too young to understand. The holy army is guided blindly by their faith. Don't worry, child, I'll protect you. Here's the thing. Dark magic robs someone of their emotions. They can still act like they have emotions. It isn't like, oh, I'm evil now, even though that went completely against my character. It did corrupt me. I no longer feel those emotions, but I still wish to show those emotions because I understand those emotions from when I had them, and I understand that this is not something I would do. So you can kind of fight it, but it's kind of tricky in some cases. So yeah, Grand Monk. Light magic helps increase feelings of camaraderie, faith, and loyalty. Loyalty especially. And dark magic does the opposite, increasing the chances of betrayal. It doesn't decrease them, it just actually I'm pretty sure it does decrease them. Holy magic increases these and dark magic decreases these. Okay, yeah, that's right. But increasing emotions like pity and lust or rage, meaning but increasing emotions like pity and lust or rage. Wait, what? They also increasing the chances of betrayal, but increasing emotions like pity and lust or rage. Pity, lust, and rage. Okay. Meaning light magic users lack empathy. What? Wait, let me rephrase this because I think I did this wrong. Light magic increases your ability to feel camaraderie, faith, and loyalty. But loyalty is by far the fastest thing that grows, meaning if your light magic comes from your faith in God, your loyalty to God will eventually just convert you into a zealot, which is almost an infinite loop, but there's only so loyal a human can be and so much holy magic they can get from one source. That's why a demigod is usually you showing your faith by indoctrinating others in a church, and having that church thrive and succeed will give you extra powers that your loyalty alone couldn't. And Dark Mages does the opposite, decreasing those emotions, as well as most other emotions like that. Most of the good emotions. For instance, you have no concept of family. You have no concept of friends, or anything like that. However, most people who have dark magic have it later in their lives, so they still understand that those emotions exist. Demons, for instance, don't. They are born with a large amount of dark magic, meaning they do not have they do not have those emotions, nor do they have any kind of grasp of what those emotions mean. But increasing emotions like pity, lust, and rage. Okay, yeah, that makes some sense. Pity. I don't know what pity would be. Oh well. Meaning light magic users lack empathy. This is because loyalty increases so much that it kinda just outshadows anything else. If loyalty isn't involved, they're pleasant to talk to. They're very faithful, and they enjoy camaraderie, because those are the other two things that increase the heaviest. But other emotions can kind of be outweighed by them. They lose a lot of depth and become very shallow characters. Users lack empathy, which is why true immortals are the only class capable of mastering either, because they can use both. Basically, a true immortal is not immune to their effects. However, it's the only class that allows you to use both light and dark magic, which cancel each other out, assuming you have an equal amount of both of them. Banished Alchemist. Basically, he was one of the people who made things like living dolls, but these are unrelated. I was raised by the church. I felt obligated to join them when I came of age, but as the years dragged on, I find myself wanting a family. But since he was, a holy man, he couldn't. The church would not allow it. So one night, I left without saying a word to start a family. Afterwards, the church put a bounty on my... Afterward, the church put a bounty on my head. Not wanting to drag a woman into this, I had to find another way to make a family. Segment 2, Daily Life. Oh. Well, that was the first. This is from the Human Empire, I want to say. This is from the cultist faction. This is from the, of course, Grand Monks, or whatever I called them. And then this is probably from the Holy Army. So, Segment 2, Daily Life. Every NPC will eventually gain a daily routine of some sort. The baker. Every day when I wake up, I make some bread. I take this bread to the farmers as I buy the flour I'll use today. Is that how you spell it? As I buy the flour I'll use today. I head back home with a cart full. I get some water from the well until I fill this giant pot in the house, so I don't have to make so many trips outside. The first batch of bread I make is enough to fill the store and empty the big pot, so before I open it, I make sure to fill it again. Fill it up again. Just then, The mail comes, and I go to check for my daughter's letter from the Magic Academy. She was so excited to go, and I'm relieved she's doing fine. So I opened the store, and as I wait for my first customer to enter, I look at the picture when was still small, and I had my wife's help running the store. I sit down in my chair and pretend to sleep as Hunter tries sneaking in to steal bread for himself and his sisters, and his ill mother. It's become a part of my routine ever since his dad went MIA. After he's gone, and some actual customers come in, and if everything goes well, I may be able to keep the bakery open until my baby girl gets back home. So yeah, that's a lot. I really enjoyed making these that you'll see. Cult leader. But yeah, this doesn't really have much plot significance. It's mostly contained in these small stories. Cult leader. When I woke up, the first thing I did was look at our food stores to see if we needed to go hunting again. We used every bit of magic we could who freeze the meat and vegetables. I made sure no one was trying to ration out our food. If the Holy Army found us, we'd need all the strength we could muster to either drive them off or flee before reinforcements arrived, and they stormed our compound. I then helped fix that wagon that broke a while before. After all, if I did nothing, I'd become weak. It was around noon when I received the news. One of our scouts found a group of cult hunters in the forest. Without hesitation, I gave the word to load up all the wagons with everything they could carry, as I went inside to perform a dark ritual. I, Hunter, wronged by those who call themselves holy, wish for the strength of a demon to curse this ground and turn this temple into a dungeon of the undead. I screamed out in pain as my wish was answered, but the cost was great, as the demon's power coursed through my body, and I was also cursed to have my body fall apart and become a demi, or half-lich, as I grabbed my crucifix to cancel my dark powers and subsequently hide it. I went outside. Just getting rid of all that. I went outside. The carriages had been loaded, and I confirmed that I had performed the ritual and that we needed to leave now. So yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed those. And then let's see. These St. Nicholas. There are two things in my life that I regret. The first is my grudge against the Shadow Hero. The second was when me, the hero of light, the Shadow Hero, Arthur, the Sword Hero, and Wukong, the Free Hero, were trying to defeat the Demon Lord. We actually had a group of demons work as spies. Apparently they didn't want Tyrannitus to rule the world, but eventually their numbers were whittled down until there were few left. I remember two that were reasonably close. Since demons have no emotions like camaraderie or friendship, I had believed that they were simply helping each other in the same goal of being free from the church after the war was over. Until one day, one of them came to us right before our fight with the Demon Lord. He was holding the other in his arms and begging us to save him. The heroes of Shadow and Freedom wanted to help, but Arthur and I were not tricked by the act. Demons could not feel love. They could not feel the bonds of family. Since I was the healer, I had the final say in the matter. So we left him to fight the Demon Lord. I tried reasoning with the two that we would need our power to fight the Demon Lord, but when we arrived, the Demon Lord was already at death's door. Wukong and I used our magic to seal him, and we never saw the demon again. Afterwards, I gave the achievement a tragedy. I went to train with Wukong and become a monk to see past bias. The shadow hero used a ritual to go to hell and was never seen again. Arthur gained the scabbard of Excalibur that was left behind and became king, a beacon of prosperity for his people. And I became pope and still maintain the Demon Lord's seal to this day. So yeah, that is Pope Nicholas for you. Monk student. When I wake up, I have to go and meditate in the sun's rising light. After that, though, the other kids and I play in the mountains, eating the tree fruit and looking for fish in the rivers. We caught a huge skyfish and brought it home to eat. The Templum Aqua Fluinis, was known as the Water Temple. I'm pretty sure that it translates to Great Temple of Water or something like that. It's the Water Temple in Latin, though. It is a great tourist spot, but most of the monks don't mind them being there. There was no fire as it was built in the side of a mountain wall. As it was built in the side of a mountain behind a waterfall. The halls had flowing pools on either side that ran through the entire temple and were full of glow moss and other bioluminescent water flora. Using the waterfall as an aqueduct, we bring the fish to the chef, who... Oh wait, there's a period right here. We use the waterfall as an aqueduct is for the bioluminescent fish and stuff. We bring the fish to the chef, who scolds us for catching the alpha fish as soon as it spawned in. But it was tasty. Never underestimate a monk or a group of them. So basically, an alpha is just... I'm pretty sure you could just say that it's like a bass king or a fully grown crab. If you've seen those parts, it's basically when it reaches maturity and is at its full strength or whatever. But also, they're just stronger variants normally. It's a random species in the biome. They have to be a certain distance apart in order to have a territory, and then they can just randomly become the alpha of whatever. Next time, I'm pretty sure this was stuff that I did. Oh, I remember event NPCs, but I don't think your role / possible endings or secret NPCs. I don't think I ever did anything of that. But yeah, that is the NPC perspective. Save your changes. Yeah, sure. Let's see. World. Next most fishy. Leaks below. Onto the sea. Cost of power. Chapter 0. Oh yeah, I remember. This is supposed to be the first thing that was explaining everything, but I kind of just skipped it. I'll give you a rundown. It's a revolutionary game built by Twisted Toy Box Studio. The game was supposed to be like WoW or RuneScapes, which I feel like are kind of dying off. I feel like the main consensus around them is that they're kind of old. Then again, World of Warcraft, WoW, is still going strong for a lot of things. But yeah, it was intended to be a MMORPG styled like them, except not really. It's basically just an MMORPG. Any off-limits area simply needed an event to open it, and there were 4 factions in this wonderful land. The human empire, basically, you could become a merchant, a mage, or an adventurer. I went into more details. If you want, you can just pause and read that, or go back to where I read it in my first video. The next faction is the Grand Monks. Basically, they are these main specialists in 1v1 combat. They can attack you and stun lock you, meaning you can't fight back and are basically trapped in an infinite cycle of them punching you in the face until you die. So yeah, that's very neat. But of course, there's the double person fallacy, or the third party fallacy, which is basically if there is a 2v1 and it's not in the monk's favor, they lose. So yeah, they're very good against demon lords, because normally they'll have themselves be very strong, but they'll normally come at you alone instead of using an army. Or usually they'll have like 3 other companions, and they'll just fight off the demon lord while everyone else is handling the minions. But yeah, the monks are very peaceful. They don't enjoy conflict. The most conflict that they interact with is the earth monks, but they're mainly just territorial. The third faction is the Holy Army, filled with friendly and caring people. However, as I said, they slowly devolve into zealots for God and not much else. Or you could become a cultist who have the highest power out of any of the factions. The problem is that they literally can't work together most of the time. They could basically form a guild where each one of them is like a leader, where each one of them is like a member. There's no like master or anything like that, and they basically just have political meetings, like they're each a king coming to this council. But that's really the most that they could work together. They could probably work together at destroying a place or sieging a place, but they can't really form peace treaties between each other. There's so much in this wonderful world. We are going to make a small story, or at least a small section, in order to show you all the wonderful things. A couple months later, and we're still here. The plane story. The plane. I don't really know. Together in the end, vacation summary. The plan. Okay, so let's see. That's lore docs, Mark Cuban, may be in love, notes, only ashes remain, pray for my soul. This is season 3, episode 5. Okay. Don't need to look at it too much. RNG Island, seconds in dessert. There's a lot in here. Kitchen, no. Look in my soul, no, that's a song that I wrote. Lore. Mark Cuban, may be in love. I could have sworn there was something else. One moment, let me think. Right? I mean, I'm drawing a blank, so maybe there's nothing. I could have... Oh, wait. In event NPCs. One moment. Search. Storyboard. Event. Let's see. Chapter 0, something smells fishy. Part 5, Pride and Evil Glass Cannon notes. Okay, let's see. NPC perspective, Mark Cuban. I may have deleted it at one point. Oh well, one moment. Let's see, videos. 10 go. All the way over here, equal sacrifice, chapter 1, part 2, and then open a new tab. Yeah, segment 3, event NPCs. Here we are. Yeah, I used to put everything in the description. Alright. But yeah, I put my scripts in the description. So if I said something that's hard to translate to ear, since I didn't know how captions worked, and I still don't, I can just have it in here. Segment 3, event NPCs. Event non-player characters, NPCs, normally appear during events. Wow. They are normally very strong, but in some cases they have a special role or function. For example, an example is the Easter egg event, where there are sneaky Easter bunnies that make eggs. The eggs at first seem like loot boxes, but if not broken fast enough, they hatch into very strong monsters. They drop the same loot, so it's best to just break them. Just break the egg, seeing as the monster and the egg drop the same loot. Okay. The prize for winning the event is the Easter bunny pet. It will occasionally give monster eggs that can spawn enraged monsters. They can't be tamed and die after a short period. It is just one event in this wonderful game. And of course, multiple players can win the event. Basically, you have to reach a score of the event items and stuff. But yeah. Basically, if you win the event, you get all the bonuses of the event for the rest of the year, not just during Easter. Since Christmas is just around the corner, at time of writing it, we will give you the rundown on the Christmas event. Children who don't get to participate in the event will receive a gift from Santa. Basically, this is calling out to the fact that the main gimmick of the Cost of Power is that if you die, you have to respawn as a child, and you can also die of old age. However, it's pretty much a roguelike, because when you die, you can get rebirth points from all the achievements you got. The achievements are then reset so that you can get them again, and you can then use these points to play a mini game that will determine how much of, for instance, strength, intelligence, mana, or even some rather unknown or uncommon stats will increase. And then you get to play again. However, if you're too young to play in the Christmas event, you'll just get a gift from Santa depending on your karma from Santa. The event NPC of this event. He will buy anything from anyone. If you sell something of great value, he may give you the deconstruct master skill. If you have deconstruct level 10, it lets you get materials for any price. Materials of any price instead of getting all materials up to 10,000 gold. So basically, what I implied here is that deconstruct is a skill. Every level lets you get like, I don't know, maybe 100 gold. But if you maxed it out, your gold would go up to 10,000. However, if you sell something of great value and have the deconstruct levels 10 skill, he may give you the deconstruct master skill, which basically is just removes the penalty of it. Lets you get it all the materials of a thing that you're disassembling, except instead of just up to 10,000 gold worth of the materials, which is good very late game. Very, very late game. Also, St. Nicholas is unreachable during this event, so you should finish any business you have with him. Some of the prizes you can obtain in two parts. The first part is for the players who died too close to the event and are still children. They are given a small prize depending on karma. This prize is your choice from selected uncommon grade equipment. For the players who take part in the event, they gain a small amount of gold for each sold item. Basically, the point of the event is that Santa needs help by getting presents for the young kids, so you need to go out and sell items to him. He'll buy pretty much any item for its market value exactly. It is less than any other store, but you can sell anything and everything. Ah, I see. So it's supposed to be less than other stores, but you can sell him everything, whereas a blacksmith might not have an interest in leather. He might not be interested in wood, because while he can use wooden handles, you can't just expect to give him a part of a tree and assume that he'll be able to do everything with it. It lets you get materials of any price instead of... Wait, no, that's... some of the prizes you can obtain in two parts. Let's see. A small gap. They gain a small amount of gold for each sold item. Is less than any other sword, but you can sell anything and everything. You get more and more points for the event. And as you sell stuff, you can buy the Christmas set of armor, rare grade equipment. The Christmas set of armor, a rare grade equipment that gives increased healing from all sources. Basically, it's just a 1.5 multiplier to any passive healing, or healing in general, I guess. As well as the candy cane weapon, which is a consumable weapon template. This was something that I was interested in teasing. That I was interested in teasing. For instance, let's see. Armor, rare grade equipment that gives increased healing from all sources. Basically, you can eat it and it'll change. Another example is like a turkey leg that you take a bite off, and as you eat away at it, it becomes just a bone. However, in this case, what? Oh, nothing. However, in this case, it actually changes. For instance, it starts out as a two-handed greatsword. If you eat it once, it becomes a normal long sword. If you eat it again, it becomes a one-handed sword. And if you eat it a third time, it'll become a candy cane dagger. Let's see. The highest tier reward is the Santa Sack, which holds 10 items as much weight. Santa Sack, which holds 10 times as much weight. Basically, your inventory is calculated based on weight instead of, inventory size or something like that. Basically, the Santa Sack takes its weight, multiplies that by 10, and then negates that from everything else in your inventory. And creates 10 candy canes per hour. But what about the cultist faction? They use leftover armor and weapons for their minions, followers, grunts. So how do they participate? Well, Krampus the Unhunted appears, and he wants the hide of beasts. Any beast hide you collect can be sold to Krampus for rewards, like the Frozen chain set, which is based on the 9th layer of Hell from Dante's Inferno. It slows you down 50%, but gives the user high resistance to most debuffs. The Devil's Whip, which attacks every 2 seconds, has a stunning effect that lasts for 1.5 seconds. The highest tier reward is the Krampus Sack, which is just the same as a Santa Sack, but gives 1 slave child every day. Now, remember, you only live a week, so that's at most 7 children before the first one you got died, and you're already dead by then. Unless you become immortal, which is another thing. Because Krampus items can be given to players with good karma, and the same can't be given to players with good karma, and the same is true with bad karma. The Santa gear with bad karma and the Santa gear. If someone tries to get the wrong one, they get the other. For instance, if I hold a Santa sack to a cultist member and they take it, it'll automatically transform into Krampus sack instead of Santa sack. Lastly, fear the woods. There might be something abominable out there. And this is back when I was streaming at No Thinking Just Game on Twitch. I plan to stream on Twitch again. Leaf site. But not yet. Let's see, so the glutton, where is it? Layer of pride, layer of lust, gluttony, a layer of envy. Aha. Chapter 2, Into the Inferno. In this 8-part chapter, I'm going in depth to give a proper analysis on the 8 parts of hell you have access to. Also, I use relative location words because I need to use relative location words because of school. Yeah, I'm doing this entire thing, 1, because of school, and also I plan to actually make these games one day. Obviously, this will become way down the pipeline, but I am learning to code. I've also realized I'm not going into detail about the whole of the last hurrah, name pending, which you enter once per life, specifically the end of it. During your life, you gain achievements. When you enter the hall, you get prestige depending on how significant the achievement was. For instance, killing a dragon gives 400 points of prestige. Now, a dragon, I've already stated, is basically a raid boss. Once you get your prestige, you can then participate in Ascension Trials. Trials each cost 100 prestige and can increase statistics. stats, but also anything really. Almost any statistic can be increased, but the amount they are increased is dependent on how high you got the stats in life. Some statistics can only be increased in the hull. The hull acts as a hub for players, and the tutorial, literally, just says ask some players for help. This surprisingly adds a roguelite aspect. Now that Now that that's out of the way, the first layer of hell is rather empty. This is due to it being the layer of rage. The sun and moon are in a constant battle, and the ground has become flattened and compacted through years of war, and is now the hardest resource in the game. Although it's classified as stone, it has an ability to enhance curses, but more on that later. The demons on this layer are in an unstoppable rage. When they are killed, they have a cooldown until they start regenerating. They start from 1 HP, so low-level demons can gain a lot of experience from killing them as they regenerate. Note, they are also gaining experience as they fight to the death over and over. They are hard to survive against, let alone kill. It is hard to survive, let alone kill them. So it is recommended that you kill regenerating demons at low levels. Low levels being 100 levels. There are many bosses called Fragments of Wrath. They are incredibly difficult to defeat, but give an item called Essence of Eternal Rage. It can be used as the layer's currency, or given to a demon of rage to turn them into an eternal berserker. It can also be crafted into gear to make the Battlestone set, dealing both necrotic and unholy damage, and empowered through combat into the Warstone set. It is the first example of a growth type equipment we've seen. Basically, it takes experience. It halves the experience you gain, and once it's stolen enough experience, it evolves or enhances itself in some way. When you equip the full set, it reduces your experience gain by half and will upgrade after absorbing enough experience. Alright. Goes into the Inferno. Save that. Let's see, where is the... This is part 2. That was part 1. Let me just eat a bit. Alright. So this is a song that I sang. I don't have a recording. I don't really care to sing it. Even though it's kind of fitting for where we are currently. The Demon Wilds are a fierce battleground. Like the name suggests, it is one of the only places in hell with food. Not a problem for demons, since they eat mana as sustenance, but is necessary for human shelters. Thus, it is one of the recommended places to build your headquarters. Though aside from the layer of rage, it is also one of the most hectic layers, as this layer is has what is known as demonic beasts. I should explain the differences between demons and demonic beasts. While demons are the descendants of the devil and are given the ability at birth called a demonic ability, and they can gain more abilities called demonic form abilities through training, the abilities they can receive are dependent on their demon type. More on that in part 5, the layer of lust. I basically said everything I needed to right there, so there isn't really much more to talk about. The demonic beasts are animals that were taken to the 8th layer and evolved in order to survive. Two-headed hellhounds with alphas called Cerberus, which do in fact have an extra head, swallow flies that eat brimstone berries, and mushroom fields that are filled with poisonous mushrooms, and opportunistic hunters, or scavengers really, an infinite cave with little to no light. It is a pathetic wasteland, but to demons it has another name, and that name is the circus. Because this is the first layer of hell with an overlord. Normally an overlord either is the right-hand man of the 7 deadly sin that controls the layer or operate in their stead, but no member of the 7 deadly sins is on the 8th layer. This is because they don't want to be too close to the layer of rage. The overlord of the 8th layer is called the Mad Jester, a prankster type who is pretty easy to be on the good side of at first. However, some of the missions you can take later on, for example, go to the center of the Grand Cathedral, the HQ of the Holy Army, your sworn enemies, since normally you're a cultist here, and drink 10 Overlord potions. More on that, this is literally down here. If you complete one of his requests, he gives you a laughing mask, which is an ingredient for the laughing set. It can also be used to make multiple weapons for the set. If you fail them, I didn't say it here, but you basically get, I don't know, a punchline. It's just a worse version of the laughing mask, since most of his quests are unreasonable. Overlord potions make you regenerate mana 100 times faster, and you gain the ability to generate more mana than you could hold for as long as the effect is in effect. Once the effect runs out, all mana you cannot hold will be used to make a spell aimed at yourself with all the power you release. In practice, it is a super potion with the death penalty when used, generating an unlimited amount of mana to turn the tides of battle at a great price, and it lasts for 10 minutes. Note, the spell it aims at you with all the rest of your mana is a fireball, which is an AoE spell. So you basically self-destruct and go out in a blaze of glory, quite literally. Chapter 2, Part 3, Sloth. Well, what do you know? It looks rather empty, or rather uneventful. I mean, that's fitting. The layer of Sloth, like the name suggests, is actually quite peaceful. Although it's the first layer with both an Overlord and an 7 Deadly Sins member, Sloth mostly just sleeps. The Overlord, known as, Megalithus, acts as the ruler of the layer of Sloth. That means little while the demons of Sloth spend most of their time asleep. Fun fact, you never see the tail of Megalithus, because he's also the pillow of Sloth himself. Now, he's basically just a giant ferret with a lot of legs, and the entirety of the Sloth layer is covered in a sleeping gas-like mist, and the demons spend their little time awake looking for a good place to sleep again. The changing environment is your biggest concern. Earthquakes, volcanic activity, giant beasts rolling over in their slumber, and the demonic abilities of the sleeping demons that have seemingly random effects. Sometimes the sleeping demons just explode if that's their effect. And don't forget form abilities. It has no food due to the environment, and you'll be drained of all your stamina. That's the bones of this layer and some more. Let's add to that. If a demon is made out of a strange material, it is normally a sloth-type demon. Most of the mountains on this layer are said to be old demons that are really comfy, and their snoring caused the earthquakes that plagued the layer of sloth. Well, that was a kind of fast. I'm gonna eat some more spaghetti. Made this like 2 days ago. I was expecting people to eat it. Okay then. Chapter 2, Part 4, The Glutton. This episode is not for the weak of stomach, and might displease some viewers. Now let's see here. How do I skirt around this issue? No, it'll be fine. Just have your least queasy friend watch it and get back once you're finished. Because I don't know how to put in a timestamp. Just skip ahead like 5 minutes. That'll probably be good enough. Anyway, I'm just gonna wait for 5 minutes. I'm too impatient for that. Please keep this in mind going forward, hopefully not while eating. Nah, I'll be fine. So did I ever tell you that this game is rated R? Well, it is. You see, going forward, all of the layers of hell get smaller and smaller, so they become more and more claustrophobic, using what little room they have to the fullest. Gluttony, not the layer of gluttony, had a problem. Sloth was one floor away from the layer of wrath. Technically, this isn't entirely false, but it's also not true. Gluttony was supposed to be the 8th layer, simply because Beelzebub, the original Gluttony, tried his damnedest to have something grow in the layer of Gluttony, because that was kind of his job while he was in heaven. And he tried to make that his job while he was in hell. But almost nothing took. There's like 2 plant species and like 3 species of monster. Pulling a Big Brother move, he left his layer, went past his layer of sloth, below it, and went in between the layer of sloth and the layer of lust, and grew. His demonic ability is that he himself is a biome, an environment, an ecosystem. That's the word I was looking for. He pulled a big move, he left his layer and grew too big, and grew to become the layer of gluttony. Most of the layer is his insides. The Holy Church says that his vast gluttony overtook him, and he devoured his own layer. But this is not true. While most of the layer is inside him, the outside deserves some attention. It's a long plane of skin, rolled up in folds. Random eyes, arms, and mouths are dotted across the landscape. Might I add pustules, because it's a nice word. He has a large number of organs acting like a maze that are difficult to traverse. The overlord of this layer is a hive mind of blood parasites, which act more like white blood cells, symbiotically, which will attack you if you're inside the blood veins, because you can actually get inside the blood veins. They're that big. This is also the only place in hell with an ocean, even though they're made of blood, acid, censored, and bile. While inside the digestive system, there is a very real possibility of being crushed. Demon bile and blood, if properly harvested, manufactured, and with the ability that allows you to consume it without dying, can multiply the duration of a potion by 10 in the event of a demon bile, and the blood gives a powerful regeneration effect. This is different from normal regeneration, and meaning that you can have both effects at once, which is nice. The demons that call this place home are either immune to the acid, parasitic, hunters, and most of them are slug-like, which helps them move around inside gluttony. Most gluttony demons don't live on or in gluttony, instead choosing to inhabit other layers. The way of a glutton is to eat, so demonic abilities revolving around eating. Some of the common demonic abilities are longer duration for consumables, gain a stacking stat boost when eating consumables, is a consumable, or can create consumable items. In the demon race, there is a 1 in 1,000 chance for an anomaly to occur. There are two types of anomalies. One is dual type, where a demon can have two sources of power. Some of the dual type gluttons are Berserker's Brew, Drug Creation, Maw of the Void, Destructing Enzymes, Pre-Victory Feast, Living Famine, and Sewn Shut. It is not recommended to build your base here, but if that's your thing, then go for it. Basically, I kind of gloss over a lot of stuff. For instance, I did say there were two different types of anomaly, but I didn't say which. Also, that's not accurate anymore. When a demon is at its maximum power value that it can be at, and then it breeds with another demon that is also at its maximum power value, or at least close, it has a chance to fluctuate. It takes the average between them and then fluctuates up or down by 10 points. If it's at the maximum and goes over the maximum, it'll reset down to the maximum, and then it will become the dual type that I mentioned. However, if it's lower, it'll turn into what is called a child demon. This is not some sort of euphemism or something. It is literally a demon that has innocence. For instance, a lust demon would basically be like a big sister. A envy demon, however, is the main one that you're looking for, because a child envy degrades the curse of magic, both light and dark magic, basically allowing a demon to regain their emotions, which is an event in and of itself when one appears. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Oh yeah. Basically, the dual types are ordered in the same fashion of the layers up to this point. The problem, the ones that came before this point, for instance, let me think, what is it? The Sloth and Wrath demons don't really use theirs. The Layer of Lust. There isn't much to talk about here, since I already mentioned most of it. Yay. I finally get to talk about the reproductive system of demons. I was kind of excited about this since I thought it was really interesting how I did it. First off, all lust demons are female, and all female demons are lust-type demons. It may be a shock, but demons lay eggs. These eggs are a deep red like blood. The texture is of skin with veins just under the surface. On the top of the egg, there is a mouth lined with white teeth. Unfortunately, demon eggs alone won't hatch even if fertilized. Instead, they need to be fed, and depending on what they eat, they'll have similar traits. This is how demons are assigned their SDS type, Seven Deadly Sins type. What abilities do us demons get? other than being female. Well, some of the demonic abilities include Mother's Order. Basically, you do what I say. Legacy, which is I get power depending on my offspring. And mass production. I can have triplets normally. And then a rare chance for quadruplets. Some of the dual type abilities are Tantrum, Bedtime. Or Tantrum, basically send your child into a feral rage. Bedtime, send your child to sleep efficiently. Milk, simply because it's lust and gluttony. Mitosis, simply because it's lust and lust. You get mitosis. Yeah. Prize, which is basically lust and pride. I am your reward, kind of. Censored. Let's see, what was that? That's honor. That's pride. That's greed. Oh. I want a lot of lust. Alright, moving on. And daycare, which is lust and envy. It's not as nice as it sounds. But enough about all this. What does the layer of lust look like? Well, to put it simply, it's a brothel. Lust is also known as the All-Mother. Lust, also known as the All-Mother, is basically a xenomorph queen. A big, ugly sack of eggs, serving only for reproduction. The Overlord is an almost hive mind of the before-mentioned daycare demons. They have no ability to reproduce, so they raise the demon eggs instead. That's kind of why the envy is either you can give something horrible that you have, like you're a disease carrier, or you can strip something that you lack from someone else. For instance, shown shut, you are starving constantly because you can't feed yourself. Your mouth is sewn shut. But everyone around you will have your same unbearable hunger. Yeah, sure. And that was that. Chapter 2, Part 6, The Layer of Pride. The layer of pride is the first layer that really has trouble with limited space. There are a variety of holes that eventually lead to an arena. There are three main types of pride demons. Bards, gladiators, and friendly demons. It really depends on where their pride comes from. Both bards and gladiators are in a sort of symbiotic relationship, but gladiators have a strict code of honor. Bards spread word of their achievements. Some gladiators even had to make a hall of fame for some demons, even destroying an arena, one of these which is very big since everything is based on getting pride, getting honor. One of these notable achievements was killing the hero of light. Not Nicholas, a different one, because anytime a raid boss spawns, there will be 4 heroes. One is the hero of darkness, which is immediately killed by the holy army, and then this guy apparently killed the hero of light in single combat. Many demons died just to confirm if this was true. It was. Bards get their pride from their talent, but without any equally great models to capture or achieve, to sing about, their full talents cannot bloom. And finally, the friendly demons. They can be called worshippers of the devil's promise, whatever that is. Just full clarity. Since I already told you about the envy child, demon. One was born in the past. It was the one that, was called out by St. Nicholas and St. Nicholas didn't save. But the devil's promise is basically he another envy demon of compassion or reverting the curse will be born. And that's pretty much his promise. So be good now, because someday you'll realize just how important your actions were. Either way, they're demons who act like they have emotions. A good example of this is the loyalty demon, which at first baffled researchers. It was found later that they simply gain a large amount of pride from serving a strong master, thus seeming extremely loyal to the point of excess. Pride himself is always sitting on his throne, overlooking the grand arena, the most prestigious Colosseum, like the great Caesar in Rome, watching the gladiators fight for their honor to the death if they must. Demon honor favors the strong. When two demons fight, one shall die. There are no rules except don't run from the battle completely. You can throw sand in your opponent's eyes. If it works, they were weak enough to be blinded. Poison your enemy. If it kills your opponent, they were weak enough to die to the poison. After all, the only way to prove your strength without a doubt is to fight to the death with all your might, and win, even if that means fighting unfairly. Speaking of which, what are their demonic abilities? Well, there's the ultimate strike, setting their stats to upwards of 1,000 times that of normal for one strike. That's right, I'm explaining the abilities, which I wasn't doing before. Then we have Grow Gear, which grows armor and weapons out of your body when supported with form abilities. They can do both. It'd be a shame if I didn't mention arrogance type demons. Technically not a power, but it makes their form abilities stronger. And I didn't mention the dual types this time. Interesting. Goodness. Alright. Goodness. I've been doing this for like an hour 30 already. I'm starting to get a headache. But it's almost done. Chapter 2, Part 7, The Layer of Greed. As stated in the prologue, the Layer of Greed is more or less the shopping district of hell. Many demons have overpriced items that may be hard to obtain otherwise. There is a funny quirk of the greed layer. Most of the powerful demons are henchmen of the weaker but wealthier ones. The demons who get the strongest usually sell their strength to Latin name. I'm pretty sure it's the father or the birth of capitalism or something for a wealthy lifestyle before spending it all and starting over. Of course, it's the shopping district of hell, so demons will come here to sell, buy, and barter. This part is dedicated to what they might buy. Let's work backwards. This is part 7. 4. Pride. The fourth layer of hell is pride, right? Because the one in the center is the demon's castle. The second one is envy. The third, which is the one we're on currently, is greed. So the fourth layer would be pride. They sell trophies and buy weapons and armor. Lust, they sell labor and buy censored, or censored. Gluttony doesn't sell or buy anything, but the abundance of demon blood and bile is somewhat is somewhat expensive. 7. Sloths. Once a demon bought a pillow. Sounds like fake news. They're too lazy to do that. 8. They sell demonic beasts as pet, normally imps, and buy clown supplies. There are rumors that the Mad Jester buying small marbles that specifically weigh 1.000000009 pounds. 9. It's wrath. Do I really need to explain this? But what are the demonic abilities? Well, I don't know. You see, most of the demonic abilities have some sort of formula. Wrath has a trigger for their Berserker's Rage. Sloth revolves around sleep, either gaining an effect while sleeping or gaining an effect based on how long they were asleep. Glutton's power revolves around consumables, either creating, being, or eating them. Lust revolves around giving birth and motherhood. Pride revolves around what they are prideful of, and envy revolves around either having too much of something and giving it to others, taking something from others and reusing it, or not having something and either destroying it in others or giving it to others. So should greed revolve around gold, buying magic spells, stat boosts, buying magic spells, stat boosts, turning in something into its equal value in gold, or just gaining more gold? Although the power of the SDS aren't known widely, with some exceptions, many demons point out that greed doesn't seem to run out of gold. Basically, a common demonic ability, a form ability, so everyone has it, is that the demons of greed can make a contract to basically buy or sell anything, including like strength points. This is temporary to a single life, but can give you a massive head start if you're just trying to use a life for training and don't really care about your strength this time. You're really going into magic, so you need a lot of money for the supplies of it, and you're a cultist, because that's really the only way you're going to do this. Basically, Greed's ability is that he's golden. He's made out of gold. His body is gold. It looks like his body is dressed in gold leaf, but no, he just literally shaves parts off his body and mints gold out of it. Technically, this should cause inflation, but I don't really care about that. Finally, the layer of envy. That's right, we're almost out of hell. The layer of envy is the last layer one normally has access to. It is directly connected to the greed layer, as it is directly beneath it. The SDS, also known as the Wish Granter, is one of the only SDS members whose demonic ability is widely known. As his name suggests, he can grant the desires of others. Meanwhile, the other demons of envy fancy themselves aristocrats, and despite being the lowest level of hell, they act like high society. The Overlord, also known as the Duchess, can change a demon's ability to one of the same types, as long as she has more demonic power. That's all I need to say, so I'll talk freely from here on out. Basically, I was just going to go back and then redo everything up to this point. That's why there isn't much here, because there was already so much before that. But now, let's see. Season 3, Episode 5. Yeah. Now I need to figure out how to get to Season 3. That's Wonderful World. Yeah. Alright. Boodum. 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 In the Amazon. Oh gosh. Something smells fishy. Oh wait, no, that's too far. this wonderful world. Welcome one and all to the next chapter of the Cost of Power. I am the completed product that remains unfinished, the King of Concepts, your host. Today we'll be exploring the overworld, the map most players will learn to be familiar with, but where to start? With decisions, how about we talk about the least hectic one? To the south, there are the snowy peaks, home of the Holy Army and the Air Monks, who live in harmony. The Holy Citadel is the grand city, full of peace, despite the Holy Army's non-fantastic reputation. It is hard to ignore that their influence does indeed show results. The people of the Holy Citadel are very friendly and almost too trusting. Many people will come to live in the Citadel. Sometimes you might even see monk children playing with children from the Citadel. Speaking of monks, the monks of the Great Air Temple are somewhat different from other monks. Whereas most monks live in some form of solitude, the freedom-loving air monks are much more friendly. None more so than the great immortal Sun Wukong, the ancient hero of freedom and great friends with Pope Nicholas. The Great Air Temple is rather hard to traverse without the power of flight. A high-level monk art allows for this, but your spirit must be as free as the air to use it, whatever that means. Half of the temple is suspended in the air, and the rest is built into the mountains nearby for the monks who can't use flight yet. The daily lives of the citizens are to normally wake up, pray or do morning meditation, get something to eat, and head to work. The types of work differ from region to region, but in the high mountains of the south, most of the work revolves around tending the farms. Sheep, lambs, alpacas, and even goats are tended to by monks and faithful alike. They normally grow things like cocoa, a form of grain, papa, a maga, and a type of potato, and yes, I did. Just look up crops that grow at high altitudes. After a day of work, they'll have some free time that may go to the shopping district, go on dates, eat a meal as a family, or just play. All in all, it's a wonderful place to visit or live, except if you're a cultist. So let's see. Oh gosh, I have a headache real fast. I'm going to eat some spaghetti and cool down for a moment. One moment. Okay. Yeah. Where is the leaks below, under the sea, cost of power, the plane? Wait, what? I don't know why that's labeled as .5. Okay, there. Chapter 3, Part 2 of 12, The Mountain Tribes. The Yeti tribes are neutral. Culture of nomadic snow apes that wander the snow hell. The snow hell is a long forgotten place of a constant blizzard and non-demons, great creatures that dwell in the storm. They are classified as both white leviathan and black leviathan, here referred to as WL and BL. WL are very dangerous. They use the thick snow storms to camouflage their massive forms. And while some aren't predators, and most that are won't see you as a meal, they will still flatten you by accident. BLs, meanwhile, use their black color to absorb sunlight and stay warm. It is unknown how these creatures get their sustenance. The Yeti tribe believes that somewhere in the snow hell is a place they must reach at all cost. The Frozen Ones are an old civilization of sentient ice sculptures, not hostile but very territorial, as their cities are falling and they are afraid of losing what remains. Through much difficulty, peaceful relations have been established, but to enter the city you must have certain paperwork. Paper, please. There isn't much an adventurer would want anyway, so unless you're a diplomat or a historian, it's not worth getting the papers. They say that long ago there was a civilization much stronger than them that had a large amount of magic power and built the black and white leviathans until they created a bunker 10,000 years ago and have yet to return. They are bound to them and must have their help to rebuild their civilization. The snow wisps are a kind of fae that's very playful and almost harmless. This almost is due to their mischievous nature, causing pranks that can be bothersome. For instance, finally get that snow off your house, only to come back and see that the snow spirit has come and dumped a new pile of snow on top of it. In all reality, it's so due to them causing small avalanches that result in minor injuries. It's common to see a herd called a foreshadowing to be seen at the edge of the snow hell, wailing. It is unknown why. Observers do not exist. If you see an observer, you mustn't acknowledge their existence. It may prove hazardous. Okay. The food chain. So basically, I'm gonna get some more spaghetti before I dive into this. Let's see, how many pages are we working off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just barely 5. Got it. Chapter 3, Part 3 of 12. The Food Chain of the Slightly Tall Hills. Hello and welcome, dear viewers. I'm your host, the final design of the unfinished product, the King of Concepts. On this fabulous day, we'll continue our dive into the cost of power, the game slowly draining my soul. This episode is sponsored by King Sheep. It's the only thing that kept me going near the end. Let's set some ground rules to make this easier. Let's break the food chain into more manageable bites. First, we'll find the weakest links and cut there. Each segment should be no more than 5 links long. After it is properly cut, season it with lemon and lime juice and some basil. And you can't forget the sorry, it's like I made myself sick by referencing a terrible game known as The Competitors. What I meant to say was ranch. Either way, after you finish seasoning your food chain, it is time to throw it into the oven. I can usually make it from across my apartment, but if you haven't been going to the gym for the past 2 weeks like me, you can just put it in normally, because throwing your food into your oven is very impractical. Once it's in, through any means necessary, set the heat to about 400 degrees Kelvin, because if the ranch didn't fill you in, this is a vegetarian dish. Now my oven gets very hot, so normally when it reaches temperature it's done, but it may take a bit longer for you at home. Finally, remove it from the oven and set it for 5 minutes before plating and enjoy. I can't believe I made myself read that. Oh gosh. Yeah, I started writing that and I'm like, this seems like a joke I could use to restore some of my sanity. I don't know how much it helped. The raid risk number, which I abandoned after a while, has 12 different levels depending on the chance of occurring, as well as danger. 1 to 12 guaranteed and avoid at all costs, or AC. This is mainly supposed to measure how much effort should be used to avoid it happening. Of course, all raids should be avoided. With all seriousness, we have 3 food chains to talk about. So let's begin. We'll give each 5 plants, 2 herbivores, and 3 predators, with 1 being an apex predator. All except the snow hell. It does have BL, but they've never been seen eating something. It's unknown where they get their nourishment. It has been added to the record that they release small amounts of mana, which helps to remove the magic snow of the snow hell, as it clings to items that store mana, and is notably dangerous to demons since they actively metabolize the ambient mana in the air for nourishment. But in the snow hell, the snow would cling to them like magnets and freeze them to death. Although there is still plant life, such as white rose. The white rose is a flower that has come to symbolize survival, as out of all the flowers in the snow hell, it is the most common due to its survivability. It's seen as remarkable and thus is sometimes given as a get well soon or used to basically it's a medicine mascot instead of the Red Cross. Alright. Blizzard roots, an herb that can ward off heat stroke and forbids your body temperature from going over 40 degrees. It's used on slaves. Good thing the faithful have a monopoly to regulate its use. Crystal grass. It's not a type of grass, but a mineral formation that has absorbed mana, thus ripening. It's used as an ingredient for ice magic balls and focuses. Magic balls that are ice, and then magic focuses that are ice. Snow moss, a clump of moss that itself is a super insulator, used in the clothes that are required to meaningfully traverse the snow hell. It is is a popular trade good. Hollow mushrooms. A type of mushroom that's as hard as stone. It feeds on the seemingly abundant minerals in the ground and can change shape and color depending on where it is placed. The type of shrooms that grow in the snow hell are normally made of a form of ice that contains mana and can be a supplement for crystal grass or blizzard root. Okay. Still, they rarely form into one with an immaculate hexagonal cap, which with much more mana potency. Although somewhat rare, plants still exist in the snow hell. But what about BL? They may not eat, but they still exist. So what are they? Well, there are two mainly. Black camel, with the appearance of a giant camel. The black camel is thought to be an insect, since eyewitnesses state them they have an outer carapace, which gives them their black coloring. While it's true they roam through the snow hell, they sometimes are seen outside it, since they use their black pigment to absorb sunlight and gain heat. Therefore, they travel into the snow hell frequently. Although they aren't very fast, there's never been a sight of one being eaten, nor half-eaten remains found. Raid threat 0. No known raid possibilities. Alright, I'm just going to make this a lot easier and break the illusion of mystery that I created. These are all robots. The black is solar panels that they use to gain energy from the sun. They absorb small amounts of mana while outside the snow hell so that they can repel it while in to keep themselves from getting frozen. And then they can charge other white leviathans, which are the guardians to this ancient four-claimer ruins. Now that that's been said, I can get through like most of this without, oh gosh, black sky birds. They basically go above the blizzard and feed the white blizzard fish, which are basically just flying sharks. If they see you, they'll call on white Drimagon, which are white dogs-like creatures found following black camel because they charge off of black camels. They will attack people because, people aren't supposed to be here. They see humans as demons. And finally, the apex, which is the biggest thing. It used to basically be a bus, but the precursors modified it for offense and basically made it a filter feeder with a bunch of augers for teeth. Oh wait, did someone... Ah! A being has appeared from the void! Quick, turn on the Scranton... The correct user manual definition is Scranton Reality Anchor. Hello, Cookie Vi. It's nice to see you. I was, struggling. I'm trying to recap all of my work, and I'm this far in. But this is the last chapter, so that's good. White blizzard fish. These are basically buses that let me think. They're basically buses that they put a giant meat plow onto and let them just sweep across the blizzard, the snow hell. The other two food chains are separated into high and low altitudes for the rest of the mountainous range. Meadow grapes, a common type of grape found across the lower regions of the south. They are grown normally in the region and are used to make wine. It's a fine vintage. Wild corn, wheat-like corn that can be used as flour, but it's normally only done for the poor. It's normally used as livestock feed. Oh, there's a lot more of this. I'd feel bad if you had to say cool after everything. But yeah, Old Apple, a regional delicacy known to be a very old species of a tree, thought to be the first kind of apple tree. This may not be true, and they admit it, but it's still good marketing. Gold weeds, a type of plant disease that makes their chlorophyll turn gold. This will probably harm the plant and make growing them much harder, but both its taste and aroma improve subsequently, making many farmers skilled enough to intentionally infect their crops to raise value. Odd roots. Have you ever had a buzz button? And since I have a viewer, free money, yes. I don't know at what part you said that, since there's a delay on the stream, but yeah. Have you ever eaten a buzz button? What that? Let's see. Basically, I describe them as capsaicin, which is basically what spicy food is spicy because but for sour. It enhances the flavors, but it's kind of a lingering sour-like feeling in your mouth. It's very odd. Let's see. Odd root works similar to the two, but for a flavor entirely random. Can be used to magic can be used to control what flavor it gets, and is used to replace spices if you don't have spices. Yay, that's all for the lower plants. Now on to the wildlife. Jackalope, a giant bipedal horned rabbit. Not to be confused with rabbit folk. Although it's seen as a demi-human, many still hunt them and find them delicious. This is seen as normal, so it's not questioned as much as one would think. They spend their time grazing, have very good family structures, and even bury the dead, and have things like marriage and a simple form of law. They are skittish when spotted due to being hunted. Their magic prowess starts and ends with their druids, who can generate food-producing plants and vegetables. They speed up growth. They are also a non-event variant of the Easter Bunny. Raid threat 1, guaranteed, 1 and guaranteed, with 2 known raid possibilities: Rabid Rebellion and the Black Prophecy. To be honest, I don't remember what the Black Prophecy is. I just gave it to a bunch of the underdog races that are around. And just like, I'll solve this later. 2. Goatman. Like a jackalope, it's seen as a demi-human, but it's much less intelligent than most. They are seen climbing the cliffs and living in caves. They graze on occasion and have a family structure, but their movements are shown to be driven by a large amount of animal instinct. The height of their intelligence is believed to be their shaman, magic users capable of a few types of weak magic. Raid threat 5 to 7, 2 known raid possibilities: Roar of the Billy Goat and Twin Mountain Maidens. That's all for the herbivores. On to the predators. Red Bear. As the name suggests, it's the goat. Yes. As the name suggests, red bear is a bear with red fur, similar to the black bear or the brown bear, plus some vampiric properties. Its red fur is normally blonde, but can absorb blood to grow more powerful. As they kill their prey, they are known to steal meadow grapes after breaking into pastures. Raid Threat 3, there is one known raid possibility, Mount Corpse. I'm sorry, I just realized I may be going a bit too fast with all of this. And you've joined in, like, at the third and last chapter, pretty much. So, I'll give you a brief period to speak if you want. Is Mount Corpse a pile of corpses? Yes, kind of. The red bear has vampiric properties, however, Mount Corpse turns that up to its reasonable and irrational extremes, becoming a giant graveyard on top of a bipedal animal. Ratmen. Sniveling vermin that are known to steal from and ransack villages. They are killed on sight. Any den is to be raided and purged, and captured. The captured are to be tortured until the diseased heretics betray their friends and family before being burned at the stake. They are highly intelligent and brutal. Their weapons use no magic and are devastating, firing thunder, gases, and iron. And that's just three of them that have yet to be understood, so be careful when purging them. They worship a presumably long dead demon, although it's unknown which one, but it doesn't matter. Raid Threat 7. Guaranteed. 3 known raid possibilities: Rat Rebellion, the Faith of the Heretic, and the Rat King. And of course the Apex Realurg, which don't bother. Rat King. Yeah, I really liked how I did the Rat King. Basically, there are 3 different types of Rat King. Or, I guess there's just 2. There's the Emperor or King variant, which is just a single rat, and he's leading them, granting them a lot of power. However, there's also Democracy, in which it follows, one moment, let me look it up, an actual Rat King. Moment, let me just boom one of these, and it's just a bunch of politics with their tails tied together, a bunch of giant politic rats that form a congress, and I thought that was hilarious and an interesting spin on the Rat King idea. But yeah, this is biased, so of course we need the other side of the story, which is the Apex Realurg, Raid that guaranteed raid, the Awakening of the Dead God. Yeah. Hope is a powerful thing. Basically, this is a letter written by one of the rats that doesn't have any memory of writing it, because Realurg is a being that isn't tied to this universe. He is a multiversal being, one of their managers. He is a pinnacle. But yeah, if you want to read this, then you can just pause it or something. I don't know. Okay. Hope is a powerful thing. It is all we have. We lost our land, our home, our elders, our king, and our emperor. They were our leaders, and now they're gone. Killed in the line of battle trying to protect us, and now the brown-furred, black-furred, and white-furred have come together after years of war and bloodshed. But now we're at the brink of extinction, and they caught cheese in the last raid. It was a different compound, but he knew about this place, and he was the only one missing. I hope he found some way to kill himself. I don't know how much torment he could go through. Too much. He wasn't built for war, but this, I wish he could have been killed instead of taken. Some of the wise said the old fort was a lucky break. I have to agree, but it's just something lies here, something old, but what is this? Recent, distorting and corrupting, but nothing changes. I've seen something, a dark silhouette moving in the shadows. It doesn't seem like a hostel. And no, it's not that thing he told the people to worship so they'd have something to stop thinking about the war. It is something that feels like a paradox, an oxymoron, something that shouldn't exist, but feels like everything that exists all at once, into one pinnacle. It's not just here, it's everywhere. This realm is its domain. The rat man who supposedly wrote this had no prior, nor had no paper, nor memory of this letter. And finally, the high-altitude food chain. 1. Skyscrape. Skycap. Okay. Sharing its name with a hat is something. Oh, wait a minute. Skycap. I referenced it, so might as well. Let's see. Porter employed at an airport and provides the following services to an airplane passengers. Handles luggage, strollers, and car seats. Okay. Sky capturing its name with a hat is something. It's a very fluffy mushroom that can get detached from the ground and float to another location. Rock roots, a tough root rich in minerals. If harvested quickly, it's a good source of minerals. If not, it could become ore. Because, this is a fantasy world, why not have fun? Rock. The suggestion was made by a caveman. If you remember that meme, then, yeah. Dirt garlic, a type of garlic blessed by... Wait. Dirt garlic, a type of garlic blessed by God and creates holy ground. Thus its name, dirt garlic. Then the herbivores. Wow, you can see me being burnt out already. Yeah. These are getting shorter and shorter. Fly monkeys. Small but nimble fly monkeys live in the higher forests of the mountains, swinging from tree to tree and eating fruit. As the name suggests, they have wings resembling that of flies. They rude or animalistic behavior. They are seen as annoying squirrels. Raid threat guaranteed. One known raid possibility. Sun Wukong. The only reason it's guaranteed is because it's kind of already happened. Sun Wukong is a hero fly monkey for some reason. Normally they're human, but he was an exception. 2. King Sheep, who is the sponsor of this video. Oh, wait a minute. There. Who is... And it isn't actually like a company sponsoring, it's just something that I had to do in order to keep myself sane, because this was a lot writing it. Giant sheep containing enough muscles and unadulterated fluff to flap and fly short distances. Many children climb on their backs and ride them for the amusement of where they go. It has become the national animal. Their appearance is like that of a blob of wool with 4 table legs under them that are just their hooves. Can you tell my brain is just using prime floof tactics to keep me sane? Raid Threat 7. One known raid possibility is the champion of floof. I really should have made some more where it's like pink sheep or maybe like a golden sheep of some kind. But yeah. Just imagining a giant mound of wool strapped into like a spandex is amusing. The Predators. Rock. Massive stone elementals using floatstone to fly across the sky. Fun fact, elementals eat stone and slowly turn it into metal. This then falls from them and becomes mithril and orichalcum, depending on whether it is gold or silver. Mithril is also called rock eggs, and orichalcum is its feathers. Raid Threat 0. One known raid possibility. Wings of Night. Basically, it gets so big it gets so large that its wings block out the sun. 2. Harpies. A tribe of bird demi-human who are known to take advantage of passing travelers. Their culture Their culture features a large amount of explicit content. They hunt by hiding in the floof of king sheep and and eating whatever vile filth tries to hurt a king sheep. It is at this moment I realized I gave king sheep a private guard. Don't worry, they don't mind children riding the king sheep. And they don't harm the kids. Oh, thank goodness. Raid Threat 7 out of 8. 2 known raid possibilities. The Wool Maiden. Wait, what? One moment. Alright. And the Apex Dragons. Raid Threat AC, which is an acronym for Avoid at All Costs. When a dragon awakens, it is seen as a raid boss. All it takes for a dragon to awaken is to disturb them. Thankfully, they won't destroy the world and just go back to sleep. They were hired as mercenaries during the Holy War. Not much else is known about dragons, since each one is completely different. Each a master of element, but the number is unknown. Alright. And that is the first out of 4 segments in Chapter 3. This isn't the next thing I'm gonna... No, wait, this is... One moment. Okay. I need to find the 4th. The Desert Life. No, that's the part 3. No, wait, what? Sea, cost of power. Let's see, where is it?
No.
Is it up here somewhere? Looking for my soul. That's a song I wrote. Pray for my soul. Is that this one? Yeah. Looks like it. Random list. RNG islands. Sequel. PNG. Seconds and desert. Oh, I'm going to get some spaghetti. I need some spaghetti right now. Okay. In this episode of The Cost of Power, we'll be trekking through the vast deserts of the East and exploring the two main cultures that live there, Egypt and the Earth Monks. Egypt, as the name suggests, Egypt was modeled after the pyramids of Egypt. If you want to know what they look like, there are pictures online. We hope to make an accurate portrayal of Egypt for you to explore. Of course, our version of Egypt has access to magic, so its development is much different, starting with their religion. Since we don't want to make mistakes with their religion, with how we portray the religion, since we already have Christianity in it, we'll instead use a different one. What? One we make ourselves, and it's a modified version of the original religion, just to let you know. Okay. Can't be wrong if we make it up. The inhabitants are separated into a vague class structure, and although they don't discriminate between races, they also have things such as slavery and sacrifice. Normally, the strongest races hold powerful positions since the desert can be very dangerous. Some of the higher races are the Naga, half-serpent demi-humans. And, oh gosh. Yeah. This is basically me talking about how it can sometimes be hard to translate these things, because apparently Naga do not exist in Egyptian mythology. They exist in a completely different mythology. They're Greek. Their appearance, from what I can tell, is that of a human whose spine has been replaced with a snake, leaving them with the head and tail of a snake. They are healers, using knowledge of poison to make medicine. Maybe not the best medicine, I'm no doctor, but medicine nonetheless, though their other lines of potential work include mages, as some have a resistance to magic and can breathe fire, which was a myth I read. However, some researchers note the fact that they are still demi-human, as they are known to eat rats and mice, as not specifically a delicacy, but more as a staple food for them, specifically, as most others refrain from eating them. Sphinx. Well, we all know the Sphinx, a wise guardian of the MacGuffin, and to get it you must solve a riddle. They might be a MacGuff. They might as well be a MacGuffin, with how little thought people used to throw them into their stories. They even have what can be described as a template with the Sphinx's riddle. How do we fix this? Is there even a problem with how long-lived the Sphinx is? There is room for argument that there is no problem, and all we may have to do is shuffle around the riddle, and it may be solved. Here are 3 examples. Oh gosh. What has 3 legs during the day, sheds 2, and sheds 2 at night? The answer is that it's a trick question. What has wings but can't fly? The answer, a penguin. Since we're in the desert, it would be very sorry, I had a brain fart there. Just completely derailed my train of thought. Killed like every passenger. What is the one whose name must not be spoken, for me all must not disturb his is 100 years of slumber. No answer. Do not answer, for it cannot and shouldn't be. Basically, you don't answer it. You just wait for a bit after he asks the question. The catfolk, they're based on the goddess Bastet. They normally are seen protecting granaries since they are carnivorous. They won't eat the grain, are one of the other demi-human races that eat mice. They even cultivate them sometimes as food, but it's not seen as practical. Now I realize there are about 2,000 Egyptian gods, and I don't have enough time. Don't have enough mental energy to go over them. Alright, so I just took all the gods that are demi-humans, half human, half animal, and just made a list of them. The desert harpy, experienced scouts and hunters, known for their keen eyes and intelligence. They are respected among the races, and their variants are known as scholars. This is from, let's see, Horus becomes a desert harpy, and one moment, who is the Thoth turns into a variant of the desert harpy. Basically, he's I forget. Oh well. Lion folk. The lion folk are also hunters like the rest. The reason there are so many hunters is not only for food, though that is a big part of it. Because of many dangerous beasts, the lion folk are the main damage dealers of these kinds of hunts. Then there's the scarab men. The scarab men are not that important in the hierarchy of Egypt. They are normally farmers, but they sometimes take up work as apprentices or more specifically assistants. The desert lizard men are the main tank of the Egyptian hunter squads. They also guard the fish in the few rivers of the desert. And that's all the races I can mentally get through. So on to the Earth Monks. The Earth Monks, instead of the Air Monks, which are more free and caring, the Earth Monks are the most isolated. You can basically put all the monks on a gradient, with fire being the most friendly to other cultures, and the earth monks are the most distant to other cultures. They live in a mountain that their great elder pulled out of the desert while trying to get some water, and then they decided to call it home. They are deaf, mute not deaf, and use dances to communicate. And sometimes they will use sign language as whispering. I thought it would be neat if I thought it would be neat.
Give me just a second. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Let's see. I thought it would be neat if this was an actual language barrier. So you actually have to understand sign language in order to communicate with them. which is something for people who are deaf or mute to get through. It's a neat challenge for them. Of course, there isn't too much bound to them, since that would be unfair to everyone else. But yeah. Let's see, where are their weapons? They also have 3 main types of... Okay, where is it? Level of... One might underestimate them, as their main weapon is a sling, but their armor-piercing, high damage, and equally high attack rate isn't to be trifled with, as it is on the level of modern artillery. When it comes to holding a position, they are second to none, with their projectiles having a small amount of course correct mid-air. They also have 3 main types of ammo, including Sand Gale, a slashing attack they can use to slash when standing on sand. This basically can cut off limbs or leave large gashes on you. Stone Sniper, a long-ranged flint knife slung at the speed of a GAU-8 Avenger machine gun fired from a Warthog. The darn thing might as well be explosive. And Marbles, the shotgun of the sling ammo. Each one with a slight amount of aimbot, meaning as long as your squad is in the range of you're exactly 1 moment in time long enough to start a prayer to God before you are wiped from existence. And if you think they lack movement options, they can also whip the sand with their sling and take off like they're riding a shark in the water. This can only be used on sandy terrain, but this is a desert. It's only sandy terrain. And that's the Earth Monks.
Okay.
I am very sorry if I'm glossing over this. It's kind of hard to read all of this with a level of enthusiasm. Let's see. This is Pray for My Soul. Okay. In the last episode, our aspiring CEO had to make an abrupt decision to fill the desert with an extra civilization. In his mentally exhausted state, he created Egypt, the city of the desert, a choice he instantly regretted as it went against his creative wish for originality, and now he must do it again, 3 times. So, I'm going to try and cut out as much as I can. Every once in a while... Okay, so let's see. First, there are 3 main parts of the Eastern Desert: the yellow, the yellow and red deserts, as well as the sand sea. Let's start with the yellow desert. Every once in a while, the yellow desert experiences a large sandstorm that basically shuffles all of the structures in it.
Okay.
I'm gonna...
Good? Right.
Which somehow moves the notable landmarks across the dunes, shuffling and randomizing the desert. Some of the main sights to see are the Glass Scar, a large wall of glass said to be the doing of a great Aura swordsman, leaving a mark across the desert known to be by the Red Desert. I'm going to go into a brief tangent about Aura. Aura is when an expert swordsman becomes a master, by gaining enough mana and focusing it into their sword like a part of their body. There are a few ways to train your aura based on the states of matter. Solid, which causes the wielder to become stubborn, and is basically a defensive and sturdy orientated state. Water, fluid, which is allows you to think rationally and calmly, and allows for greater mobility. And gaseous, which allows you to be observant and clear your head. And then there's the last type of the legendary swordsman who made the Glass Scar, and he has energy sword aura. Using a bladeless sword, he cleaved his foes in two with a blinding light. The other notable landmarks in the Yellow Desert is the Phantom Oasis. This is the tribe Normally, an oasis is not something to boast about, but the location known as the Phantom Oasis is something worth boasting. Basically, the Sphinx is in the Phantom Oasis. There are 3 Sphinxes, each in one of the 3 types of desert. The one in the Yellow Desert is in the Phantom Oasis, keeping the denizens of the Phantom Oasis safe by constantly moving. And the Red Desert is basically full of rust and iron. The winds of the Yellow Desert keep the rust in, and the reason there is rust is because of a large amount of volcanic activity. So it's usually very hot. The tribe of Rustwalkers, they're basically the Doors, but I didn't say that for some reason. That was before my dad helped me mentioning black beaches made of iron and sand that rust over time and turn red as they that are made from volcanic activity. So the Rustwalkers' homes are inside or near these volcanoes. Basically, the reason they're called Rustwalkers is because their clothes get covered in the rust. That's the final Then there's the final location, the Sand Sea. A massive expanse of quicksand under the surface. There is a massive expanse of caves, caverns carved out of the sandstone and bedrock, with creatures that have specialized gills on the outside of their bodies to absorb oxygen from the water and the quicksand. The tribe you'll find here is called the Sandmen. You can trade random foodstuffs to them in return for some Aura Halcommand or Mithril. And a random foodstuff, they're very picky eaters. They will ask for a completely random foodstuff depending on the thing. They may ask for 10 of your rations or 10 King's Banquet meals. Okay, something smells fishy. No, that's not what I'm looking for in the Amazon. Okay. More spaghetti. Okay, spaghetti achieved. The desert's life. As you may have guessed, the desert isn't the best place for life to prosper. It's alright. This is mostly review because I was thinking of making the final thing live, but I'm probably going to do that next Monday at like 5. As you may have guessed, the desert isn't the best place for life to prosper. Therefore, there will be 2 to 3 fewer plants. Walking cacti, a demi-human cactus that has a raid threat of 3.5 and can turn into a king cactus. They are hunted because they're a source of water. The common yellow desert dusk rose. The reason it has such a long name is because I didn't know what to put in the desert, so I just came with the common yellow desert duskworm. The dusk rose. Have I been saying worm? As the name suggests, it's the most common plant in the Yellow Desert. It stores water whenever it rains and blooms the next dusk. Yeah, starved for ideas there. The herbivores. Yellow Desert camel, also known as the bearded camel. It has a thick beard to filter the sand of the Yellow Desert. and no raid possibilities. Yellow jackrabbits, a small rabbit with yellow fur to blend into the environment. The predators, yellow desert fox. It's a fox that lives in the desert. Yellow desert vulture, same philosophy. This I basically actually had more animals than demi-humans and fantasy creatures. Then there's the apex, which is a king python. The king of the yellowed sands, extremely large. Thankfully, making poison at such a size is impractical. There are 3 variants: diamond, gold, and lastly royal. These creatures are surprisingly intelligent, forming colonies and nests with a hierarchy, where a royal purple king rules over the colonies. The diamond variants are tough and strong, using their size and strength to be fierce warriors. Gold uses their scales to blend into their environment and launch ambushes on large prey. Raid threat 8. One known raid possibility. Birth of the King. Now we're on to the Red Desert. The plants of the Red Desert. One moment, let me just play the xylophone with my back. Oh, gosh. Silk ferns. Silk ferns are the main source of water in the Red Desert. During night, they release their thin leaves to let dew form on them. If in danger, it will pull back its leaves, which can be made into cloth. Iron ball cacti. Growing on the toughest soil there is, the iron ball cacti are self-explanatory. A spherical cactus with a hard iron shell. Sandwood tree, a long-lived tree that coats itself in sandstone as bark to protect itself from the iron sand. The herbivores. Kangaroo mouse, a nocturnal small mouse capable of sneaking under the leaves of the silk fern and eating it and its dew. Raid threat 0, no known raid possibilities. Dust worm, a small critter the size of a chihuahua, tapping along the sand. It's not the most interesting thing in the desert, but don't worry, we're getting there. Raid threat 0, no known raid possibilities. And here's something to comment about the main threat. Red nightmares, plural. One of, if not the worst things I have made. Nah, it isn't even close. Like, it's one of the worst things I've shown. It's not one of the worst things I've made. It's a chimera of a spider and a scorpion with the wings of a bat. They hide in the sand with red bodies to blend into their environments, and when they see food, they take flight. They are in plural because they travel in swarms, poisoning you and flying faster than you should be able to run. Raid threat 9. There's one known raid possibility. Many living nightmares. Basically, when they get too overpopulated, it's considered a raid threat in of its own. The big guys. The steel drake and the steel turtle. Basically, a dragon that can't breathe fire and has steel for its beak and its scales. And then a giant steel tortoise that its most notable trait is that it craps landmines. Yeah. I wanted there to be a hard to obtain explosive, but it's going to be very powerful. So their dung turns into explosive ore, which can rest in the ground like landmines. And is also part of the Black Prophecy. Sand sea, plant life. I'm pretty sure this is a different Black Prophecy. Snap sand ivy, stun sand ivy, sap sand ivy. This was an interesting thing that I did. Basically, I tell you what each one of them can do, and basically, by process of elimination, it means that the other two can't do that thing. For instance, snap sand catches its prey like a mousetrap, and it's the only one strong enough to hold its prey. Stun sand ivy catches its prey with a powerful muscle relaxant on its thorns, causing them not to be able to flee. Then sap sand catches its prey, and instead of letting them decompose, it sucks out their blood, which is, much more instant. Sand axolotl has strong gills to bear the sand. Still small and adorable. Raid threat 1. One known raid possibility. Overwhelming cuteness. Desert bass king. Some may know the bass king as is native to the northern seas, but somehow the bass king can survive in the sand seas, which baffles researchers since they're not adapted to their environment. Raid threat 0. No known raid possibilities. The predators. It should be noted that anything in the sand has its name removed until it surfaces, so you don't know what it is. Sand pup, a juvenile steel dragon. They grow slow. Their growth slows once they gate their steel scales. So to grow quickly, they live in the sand sea until they can make their way to the red desert. Raid threat 4. One known raid possibility. Sand leviathan. Poisoned sand drippers, a colony of tiny venomous snakes wrapping around one another to hunt and defend each other. Raid threat 2. One node raid possibility is snakes and ladders. The apex of the apex is the ancient form of the plant we saw earlier, a ravenous beast of a plant. Apex predator, swallow sand ivy. With thick roots to trap prey, toxins to immobilize them, and the ability to suck out blood of their victims, they earn their spot as apex predators. They only live in the deeper reaches of the sand because of human intervention. Raid threat 4. One known raid possibility. It arises. Oh gosh. More spaghetti. Oh. You know what? I've done most of TCOP. Do you want to just hop on Roblox or something? I am getting a headache. Okay. Was that a while ago, or? I'm yeah. One moment, let's see. These are some of the games I've been playing recently. Though normally I don't really have any normal games I go to every once in a while. Let's see. How do I say that more efficiently? Alright, then this is the username. Send me a friend invite and I'll join you.